Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Oh yeah, there's a buzz about the Iraqi Dinar floating around. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. It's stuff that we've been speaking about now for quite some time. So none of it should be surprising whatsoever. Let's go ahead and get into this. I just want to give everybody a quick reminder. You can go over to Pimpy's News Network. It is free for everybody. Everybody has access to the videos that are on the website. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Oh, looky here. What's back in the news? The deletion of the zeros. Of course, everybody gets excited about this because, well, the other YouTube people, they're hyping it up as usual because they don't have an understanding of it. Or they do, and they just like misleading you guys. So, delete zeros and evaluate the dinar. In a newspaper column a while ago, we explained the concept of deleting zeros. Do you hear this? This is the first part of the sentence. In a newspaper column a while ago, we explained the concept of deleting zeros. That's a whole separate event than reevaluating. It says, and today we are talking about the concept of currency revaluation, which means a calculated upward adjustment of a country's official exchange rate related to the chosen baseline, which can include wage rates, the price of gold, or a specific foreign currency. And revaluation is the opposite of devaluation. So that's what I was speaking about before. When people were asking me about the exchange and all that, I kept saying, look, the deletion of the zeros is a redenomination. That's a whole separate situation than a revaluation. Okay, they're two separate things, even though we see people in the dinar community putting them together. They're not. They're two separate things. A redenomination is when they change the way the currency looks. It's going to have less zeros. That's the deletion of the zeros, a redenomination. A revaluation is separate. In a fixed exchange rate system, the system followed by Iraq, only a decision from the state, the central bank, can change the official value of the currency. And developing economies are likely to use a fixed exchange rate system in order to limit speculation and provide a stable monetary system in the country. What's it say here? Limit speculation. Well, that's us. We're speculators. In a flexible exchange rate system, revaluation occurs on a regular basis, as evidenced by the noticeable fluctuations in the foreign exchange market and the associated exchange rates. So we've spoken about this many times. There's different exchange rate regimes. Fixed is the Bank of Iraq. They're the only ones that can make the decision to change the exchange rate. And they can change it up or they can change it down. Either way, it's up to the Iraqi central bank, okay? Now, on a flexible or a floating exchange rate, the market will determine the value of the currency. This in here is stating that developing economies will use a fixed exchange rate. Well, there's no doubt that Iraq is definitely a developing economy. So here gives some examples. For example, the United States maintained a fixed exchange rate until 1973, when President Nixon decided to abandon the gold standard and switch to a flexible exchange rate system. As for China, despite having an advanced economy, its currency remained fixed until 1994, before the Chinese government revalued its currency in 2005, which was linked to the US dollar, After the revaluation, it was linked to a basket of global currencies. And I'm sure that if the BRICS nations continue to develop their own currency, it'll be revaluated all over again. The decision to revalue a domestic currency affects the economy as a whole, as it affects both the currency being examined and the valuation of assets held by foreign companies in that particular currency. Since revaluation has the potential to change the exchange rate between two countries and their currencies, the book value of assets held abroad may have to be adjusted to reflect the effect of the change in the exchange rate. So see, I told you, it isn't just pull a wand out of your butt and presto, everything is done. There is a lot of other things to take in consideration. It isn't done overnight. For example, suppose a foreign government has a set of 10 units of its currency to equal $1. To revalue its currency, the government might change the rate to 5 units per dollar, making its currency twice as expensive when valued in US dollars as it was before. I hope people understand how that happened, because if you go from 10 units down to 5, that's only half, which means you're going to need twice as much as before. And that's something that other governments or people who are going to invest in Iraq need to take in consideration. The currency is going to be a lot more expensive to get if the exchange rate goes up in value against the US dollar. If the above mentioned currency revaluation occurs, any assets held by the U.S. corporation in the foreign economy must be revalued. If the value of the asset held in a foreign currency was previously valued at $100,000 based on the old exchange rate, the revaluation requires a change of $200,000. This change reflects the new value of the foreign asset in the local currency by adjusting the revaluation of the relevant currency. It says another example is what the Iraqi government did in 2023 when it raised the value of the Iraqi dinar from 1,450 dinars per dollar to 1,300 dinars per dollar. So people have to take in consideration, the first thing that's going to happen, there's no doubt about this, is going to be the deletion of the zeros before they change any exchange rate. Now, I'm not saying that they both can't happen at the same time. I just think at first you're going to get the new currency. People are going to have to make adjustments to the cost of goods, the cost of services, the pricing on your goods being sold, price on services being sold. All that has to adjust to the new currency. That goes for people inside of Iraq and people outside of Iraq. There has to be adjustments made to the accounting system that you're using at your company so that it reflects the new denomination of currency that's going to be released. So this is, like I said before, the first part of this was the deletion of the zeros, the redenomination. It explained how that was going to happen. Then the next part is the revaluation. And again, there are a lot of things to take in consideration before you determine the exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar. And no, it's not going to jump to floating right away. That's not going to happen. They can't afford for the currency to crash. They can't afford for the economy to crash. And as they're stating in this article, that Iraq is a developing economy, and developing economies used a fixed exchange rate. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to get to a floating one sooner or later, but not right away. And like I was saying in one video, and people had a fit, that until people are fully into the new banking system, the new one, and they are trained and they are comfortable, the government can't afford to move into a new banking system and have the employees who are just learning the system trying to also figure out how to deal with the new currency that came out. That would just be too much for the employees of Iraq. I spoke about this before. Iraq used to do things going back to the Stone Age time. Everything was done on pen and paper. It was really easy to commit fraud. It was really easy to be corrupt. As they reform and they change and they start putting these new systems, they're going to be able to catch a lot of that, which means that more money is going to stay in Iraq for the people, which is a good move by Iraq. Anyways, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I'll get at you later. I'm out.